Hey guys, what we're doing now is we're going to be doing the daily from August 4th, and that was, gosh, what was that? Here we go. We're coming up on it right now. The Shrine of Oryx. So this is pretty simple. What you want to do, basically, here there were solar weapon. There was a solar weapon bounty this day, so you'll see me switch kind of inexplicably to solar weapons from time to time. I'm also using a hand cannon, which I don't think is necessarily a great PvE weapon to use. I mean, they can be, definitely, if you want to take something down quickly. That's the way to go. But honestly, you don't want to use hand cannons, I think, regularly. Or most hand cannons, you don't want to use them regularly for PvE. Pick up a scout rifle if you're comfortable with them. And of course, you know, my suggestion, always take that with a grain of salt. What are you most comfortable with? What weapon works best for you? You know, I'm not a big sniper fan, so you'll see a lot of times where my sniper just does not hit. And there are a couple of factors involved there. For one, see here, somebody came through. This is, I do my daily missions normally early in the morning. So we'll say 7 or 8 o'clock in the morning, Eastern Standard Time, on the east coast of the U.S. And so there are actually quite a few people who are running that time. There are people in the, you know, from the UK and Europe. You notice that I separate the UK and Europe. You know, they're frequently playing during this time, and I think actually it might have been recorded. I can't remember what. You know, it was a weekday. I was thinking that was a weekend. So this one is a pretty easy one to fire through. I don't go as fast as I actually could have, so it doesn't normally take this long to get through the the daily mission. But you know, daily heroics are great, especially from vanilla Destiny, where there are frequently places where you can more or less cheese the boss, or you can find some pretty safe places to, you know, doorways and that kind of stuff to kind of pick off the mobs or ads, as many people say in Destiny. So one of the things I don't like about hand cannons is this kind of really variable to hit activity where essentially, you know, I shot the acolyte twice from exactly the same location within, you know, the normal rate of fire that this particular hand cannon has. And by the way, Omalon hand cannons I actually do like. I used to not like them so much because they had very much the feel of a sidearm. And I'm a year 1 player, and I don't really care for sidearms that much. I don't like a hand cannon that shoots kind of like an auto rifle in a lot of ways. You'll notice that I'm really working towards getting headshots, and that's just me. That's just my style of play. And coincidentally, what I've found is, and this may be, you know, confirmation bias or whatever, because I don't really put any time into studying this, but I believe that the more you know, headshots or criticals that you hit, the more likely it is that rare and legendary engrams will drop. So it's really, and I don't know anything about exotics, because really honestly, exotics don't drop. I mean, they drop so infrequently that you basically hit the lottery if they do drop during regular gameplay. So that's another reason to use 3 of coins, and it's one of the reasons why a lot of streamers' antagonism towards 3 of coins is baffling to me, because, you know, a lot of you, while I have the freedom to play as many hours during the day as I want to, a lot of you don't have that, and I'm really designing my streams and my videos to focus on people who don't have a lot of time to play. Maybe you have an hour here and there to play during the week, and you can get a few hours in the weekend, and so you have to maximize your time. And the three of coins, running three of coins for unshielded majors or ultras, is the best way for you to advance your light level. And if you're not allowed to do that, if three of coins is debuffed or gosh, I've lost my words here, but you know, if three of coins is debuffed at any time, then what that does is it makes casual players spend so much more time in PvE events and PvP events, and it's really not worth it. Already I know that the three of coins from the original time that it was done has been debuffed. Now, I can definitely understand that farming, a specific ultra is not advisable, right? I mean, farming in general, I think it's fair for Bungie not to want people to just sit there and farm, an ultra or a major in the easiest way possible. And honestly, I think it's almost an exploit. And the fact that you can just kind of, reduce the health of an ultra, and then kill yourself at the same time that you kill the ultra, and then restart from the beginning. And it's nice because it covers people who are not really very good at PvE, and you can just go back and start over from where it was really difficult for you, and that's cool. I mean, casual players should have that. And when I say casual, it's not a insult. It's not meant to be derogatory in any sense, but just that you just don't have time, and so maybe because you don't have time, that was crazy. So you'll see here that I actually checked my connection at this point. And this is one of the wacky things that Bungie has, is why if I'm in an instance by myself do I have a yellow bar? That should never happen. I have a fiber connection. I have a DMZ for this particular device. Actually, both my consoles have virtual DMZ, which is really nice, honestly, for my router, that it can produce a virtual DMZ for any IP address on the network. I spend like hours and hours, designating IPs to specific devices. They're, in fact, everything in my network, Wi-Fi, wired, whatever it is, it has its own IP. So it has a designated IP. But I shouldn't ever have to have a yellow bar, ever, because I have possibly the fastest internet in my area, which I can actually upgrade to, like, I think it's like 100 megabytes per second or something like that. Megabits, might be megabits. I'll actually have to check, but it's pretty high. I mean, it's fiber connection, so it's a very high. It's not gigabit, so yeah, megabit. So I have like an opportunity in FiOS to get maybe it's even a 300 megabit connection, which never is actually going to be that high, likely, unless nobody is using the internet in my particular area. The way FiOS works, basically, or fiber works, is that you're actually sharing your connection with other households on the block. So, my throughput, my bandwidth is going to be significantly reduced. The max bandwidth is going to be significantly reduced over, depending on what my neighbors are also doing. 4 or 5 neighbors. I think you're in one node. I might be, with 5 of my local FiOS neighbors. And it's FiOS or Comcast here, so people are going for FiOS. They're not gonna, unless you're an idiot. You're not gonna be going for Comcast. But anyway, so you can see through a lot of these things that I'm having trouble aiming, and that's because I have been delaying buying, kind of budgeting really, buying an Elgato capture card. And, I have an Alienware X51, as well as a PS4, an Xbox One, and that's a lot of money to spend on gaming. And so I really have to budget any improvements that go from there. And the Elgato was, a significant, amount for me personally to budget for, so nearly $200. And so I was trying to use free software that was available on Windows 10 and for my NVIDIA card on my X51 and all the rest of that stuff. And honestly, they all are really horrible. And I've tested OBS, and I think it's okay. I mean, if you're if you're a Linux user, then you're probably going to like OBS quite a bit, because literally every single function you could possibly imagine is available to manage, and you really have to spend the time managing those functions. So I may use OBS, but I may use another video capture software at some point later on, because it just, having some kind of easy standards is just less painful for me. So in any case, my aim is way off, because what happens is in Windows 10, when you're streaming an Xbox through Windows 10, the control inputs are just outrageous. And I've made many posts on Reddit about how control input is affected by connections, but it's not just connections. It has to do with what resources are being used. And when you're putting your input through another device, then there's going to be a certain amount of lag and a certain amount of kind of wacky sensitivity, which you'll see in this video. I'm really not this bad at aiming, although I'm certainly not the best. But I'm not going to suddenly pull my aim. Yeah, that isn't an example at all. That's just me walking upstairs while my target is moving. But there, for instance, like that aim was fairly dead on. The Omlon in particular, I think it's I can't remember what the site is, but the site is like Quick Draw or something like that. And what I found is each site has, its own particular idiosyncrasies. And this site particularly has the reticle, the red dot, or I guess it's a blue dot, reticle will land on a critical area of a target, but you're actually hitting the target slightly lower than that. I'd say, if we're looking at this video specifically, that it's about 1 millimeter below what that site actually sees, where the reticle actually lands. So anyway, forgive me if my aiming seems a little wacky. I was getting used to streaming from a Xbox One through Windows 10, and it was very frustrating. In fact, I have hours of Crucible video where I'm basically trying to manage that, and what it comes down to in this particular video is that eventually I just stopped trying to aim with my left stick and just use my right stick to move my body around to keep the aim basically at head level, because the aim just will literally suddenly, for no reason, be super sensitive. And so you'll see me here sweeping ammo bricks, and maybe for you specifically, you're going to see me spending much more time reloading than maybe I ought to do. But for me, I don't like to move into an engagement without having a full clip, right? So everything loaded. So I have my 4 shots on the dead orbit sniper. I'm not going to walk in with like 2 or 3 shots. There are certain spots where you're going to hit a major or an ultra, and you're going to want to have a full clip. So before you enter any kind of room, reload, especially your special ammo. I mean, heavy ammo, okay, when necessary, but you saw there, I brought up my scope, and I suddenly went literally 30-40 degrees to the left, and that's disturbing for me. And that was just me trying to manage all the wackiness that I was feeling in the aim category with the streaming going on. So the upcoming videos all will have a bit of trouble with that, but I am going to be receiving my Elgato card some point in the near future, HD60, not the HD60S. I don't do a lot of research for the hardware. I was actually an IT guy at a long time. I actually was not just an IT guy, but a project manager for a large corporation. So I did do like normal support calls and those kinds of things, but also managed like large projects where IT was improved for entire departments and those kinds of things. So I have familiarity with hardware and pricing and I guess value shopping and those kinds of things. And so it's been years since I've done this, so I know the word that I'm looking for, but unfortunately it's not there. And there you see that I basically managed the Ultra or the Major by just working down their health bar until I could one-shot them with a solar sniper. Why did I do that with a solar sniper? Well, I have solar. This particular day, the bounty was solar special kills or solar kills or something like that. And so what you want to do is try to be aware of what bounties are available, and honestly, most daily missions can clear like 4 out of the 6 available bounties if you do it properly. If you do it with a little bit of mindfulness. My definition of mindfulness, not the current definition of mindfulness. So here again, I'm using a rocket launcher to get rid of mobs. Why would I do that? Well, the rocket launcher is a solar rocket launcher, so that's 3 easy, quick kills that I can get. My solar, unfortunately, we don't get solar or arc or void burn primaries anymore, and I could easily, I think I'm still with my current light level. This is not actually reflective here in this video, but my current light level is about 329 or 330. And I could use the Vision of Confluence, or I could use, wow, I forgot the hand cannon's name. That's horrible. Used to be my everyday weapon. I could use any kind of burn. Here I was again trying to manage getting solar kills, and it just didn't work out. I'm not going to spend a lot of time. I'm not really a great sniper person, obviously, as you can see. Plus, we had the additional difficulty of the input lag or super sensitivity or whatever was going on with this, because it was a little bit of both. But I was just like, look, I can't do this. And I think mostly the only there we go. We got our kill it with fire. So all the solar kills are done, and I can kind of forget about managing all my kills with solar weapons. There again, you see another one of those super sensitive things where I just suddenly go to the ceiling. That shouldn't really ever happen. Again, we have this thing again, and this is in contrast to what I'm currently used to when I'm not doing. And you'll see here with the ogre, where I never take more than 4 shots on this particular ogre, and I keep missing the crit area for some reason. I don't have any idea why. But there you go. There's, I was getting actually frustrated at this point. Of course, you make mistakes. But this is actually, if you have a chance, and if you don't care to have a lot of, if you want to just fire through your daily missions, then do that. And the way you can do that is essentially to wow, I just had there my melee would just not lock on for whatever reason. But wait for the vanilla daily missions. Eventually they come. Usually it's several weeks in after DLC drops that you finally get a chance to stop doing daily missions based on the new missions that came with the DLC, daily heroic missions that are heroic versions of the DLC missions. But you start to see more of the vanilla Destiny things, Dark Below, and all the rest of that stuff, which are much quicker, much easier to deal with. I think I recognize that there are some players who want the missions to be a little more difficult, or not really difficult, but challenging. But I don't think that story missions necessarily should be challenging. There are other things that can be done. There's end game content, there's raiding, there's nightfall, there's heroic strikes. Those can all present you with a challenge. As far as missions go, story missions go, they shouldn't really be that challenging. You shouldn't really have to spend 20 minutes or 80 minutes or whatever it is, 40 minutes. Here we can get some of our void kills done, because there's always some place in every story mission where you're presented with a large number of mobs, where they'll just be, you can predict that they're going to be coming, and you can take care of it from there. I also wanted to apologize for the lack of audio here. Like I said, I was using the Xbox streaming function, and I found out after, again, hours of recorded playtime that the Xbox streaming function only records stereo. And if I have a surround sound system here, because not to have surround sound in my office, which is kind of overkill, but to be able to switch quickly between several devices, between the two consoles and my PC, and another device that I use for TV, so like a Roku, and it's kind of a pain in the butt to see in 2016 to see that Microsoft is not programming a minimum of 5.1 surround sound compatibility with their software, with their video streaming software. That's just bizarre and inexcusable, I should say. I mean, really, I always fall on that stupid ramp. I don't know why. I think it's just situational awareness, basically. But here the boss is super easy. So if you get a chance for the Shrine of Oryx, make sure you run a 3 coins right before you do this boss, because he is an ultra. He is not shielded. He's going to take a bit. He is rather a bullet sponge. So most daily mission majors, even ultras, don't take this many shots from the high impact sniper rifle. This is I can't remember what this is, which sniper rifle this is offhand, but I was talking about scopes earlier, but I basically only keep sniper rifles that have short gaze available, and if there are other scopes available, then fine, but short gaze is kind of like the base, so it's pretty much going to be dismantled if it doesn't have short gaze. So anyway, I don't even use sniper rifles in PvP, but it's just easier, especially in PvE, where you can have a much wider range of vision. So here I actually was testing where the critical hits were, because I've always killed this either with like a fusion rifle or heavy weapons, which you don't really pay attention to. And you can see here that there are times when this final this key to closing out the mission actually is shielded. So you definitely want to hit the unshielded areas. That's your quickest way. Just wait for it to become available. But normally, you throw up like a solar grenade or something like that up there, and it's gonna burn. So anyway, that's the video. I hope it helped you. I hope that just watching this, either I've allowed you to see improvements in your game, or you can think of improvements on my game to make this a quicker daily heroic mission for you. It's a great one to run. It's super simple. It's super fast. You don't necessarily have to take as much time as I did. And thank you for watching. I'll see you soon.